Dennis, good morning. You're in Kentucky, and I'm sure it's morning over there. I'm in Mumbai. It's around 4:15 in the evening. It's Thursday over here. So thanks a lot for being my guest, and looking forward to an amazing presentation from you. And let me do the standard work, Dennis, by introducing you. I mean, since I see Toyota, let me say this. Toyota has made us do standard work for everything that we are doing. Okay, thanks to Toyota, that you all introduced standard work. And there's people who talk about a lot of the standard work, how to do it, when to do it, etc. But I'm going to do it right now. Okay, Dennis. Okay. Now, here is my test. Invariably, I don't get this right. I always get the last slide first, but let me see if this happens. There we go. And you're on the 39th episode of Series 1. This is the only series that I'm running. I'm going to run another series later. But this is, I'm not talking about implementation. You can implement the way you want to of continuous improvement, lean, Toyota way, Toyota production system. You can combine Six Sigma, whatever you want to do, go ahead. But then how do you scaffold it and how do you sustain this improvement after you give the benefits to the customer? That has been my emphasis. And you're on this I started somewhere around September, October, November. Thanks to I can't thank the pandemic, but pandemic got me to do this to get my mind more looking into something and not focusing on what's happening around the world. So you are the first person. I've been looking for this, Dennis, for quite some time to get the education part of it, how lean is being implemented in the education sector. I have been totally missing out on this. And thanks to you that you got us this, that you have made and designed this education pathway based on lean principles and practices. This is extraordinarily good. And you have been with Toyota Motors North America for the last 35 plus years. And that makes it authentic, and nobody can question that. And the product that you have developed in the education sector applying lean is what you call FAME, Federation of Advanced Manufacturing Education. And you rightly capped it by saying something new under the sun, the FAME career pathway. So there we go. Dennis Dio Parker, developer of FAME and FAME career path. I'm going to stop sharing and handing it over to you, Dennis. Take us all the way, and I'm very excited to hear. I'm going to stop sharing and over to you, Dennis.
Okay. Well, good morning. Thank you, Dr. M, for having me on the program. I think it's one of the most interesting series that I've seen. Very educational, even for me. I really enjoy watching, and I feel honored to appear as one of the vodcast participants with this.
You are right as ever. Respect for people, Toyota has taught us, and you are putting it to practice by respecting me as a host. Thank you very much for that.
Well, and one of the fundamental pillars of, we would say TPS, right? To us, it's TPS. The rest of the world says lean. We know the relationship, between that, but one of the fundamental foundations, pillars of TPS is respect for people, right?
Thank you for
that really gets into a culture piece. We may not dive into that deeply here, but we believe at Toyota that you must have that deeply embedded culture, the kind of culture where you act without having to think to do that. And maybe that's what we're seeing right here, right?
That's what I'm saying.
We've talked about FAME, right? Something new under the sun, the FAME career pathway. And one thing that I want to note as we start here, note that I have the word vintage here. Let me give you a little bit of explanation behind that. I'm going to tell you quite a bit about the FAME program as part of this discussion, of course, on that, but a little bit about where we already are and where we started. What we call FAME started in 2010 by Toyota and was led by Toyota. And we had an original target that we would put this program into 8 locations in the USA with that. And so we were doing that, but it turns out this program was so effective that it began to spread beyond Toyota. So that in 2019, we made a partnership with the Manufacturing Institute in Washington, D.C. They are the workforce partner of the National Association of Manufacturers. In the U.S., National Association of Manufacturers, we just say NAM. That's the biggest trade group in the U.S. of any kind. So it's a very impactful group that we have. And the Manufacturing Institute, MI, I'll just say MI, working with them is a very powerful partner for us. And the thought is they can now take this program across the U.S. as far as they need to. So as part of that, they have developed their own branding. Now, of course, it's still FAME. All the terminology is still there. That's not changed. That has not changed. But what has is how they do the branding and the colors and so forth. So here's what you're looking at. One, I want to acknowledge that they now have leadership of this. We'll touch base on that again. But you're looking at the original branding in what you see here. When Toyota was leading this for about the first 10 years with this, this is how we branded it. And so I'm calling it vintage, right? But you're getting you're seeing the original product with this, and the Manufacturing Institute. I'm going to give you a link to them at the end with that. They're much better artists than I am. They're much better designers, and they have a better visual impact with it. So as we start, I would like to preface this with a couple of things. So I'm going to talk about this in 2 ways, by the way. So many of you, perhaps most, don't know what FAME is. Likely hearing about FAME the first time as part of this vodcast, right? With that, so I want to tell you about FAME. I want to give you a little bit of education of what that is and how it works. We think it's a pretty awesome program for our company, and at this point here, apparently over 400 other companies do also. It's part of that continuing to spread, right? But at the same time, because we know that you're a lean audience, most of you who are listening, you're lean practitioners, or you're learning lean, or you're lean consultants. You're trying to improve lean with your own company, right? So we also want to show you, to specifically point out the lean practices that are in this program. And so what am I talking about, right? So big picture with this, someone noted quite a few years ago, I'm sorry that I can't remember the person who made this observation, right, to give him credit or her credit. But what the observation was is, if we could ever take TPS and apply it to the education world, to the education systems, we would have a whole new level of outcomes. And so we have done that here. We think it's the first time that it's been done. We've not yet seen an education program where we designed the program to operate as a lean program, right? So one of the things that's new is we believe that FAME Career Pathway is the first one to actually apply this to education, educational practice, educational pathways. We are also introducing 2 new major methods for staffing operations. How do you bring workforce into your plants and operations if that's the perspective from which you're coming, right? So hiring workers in a very structured pull system pathway to meet operational staffing needs on time, in the amount needed, with the right skills. For those of you who are really into lean, that ought to be ringing a bell, that wording and the way we look at that, right? But also building a lean workforce by hiring workers who have been lean trained as part of their fundamental education. What do we typically do at companies? Now, we have this internal to Toyota, of course, because we originated TPS, and we have lots of training internal for that, right? Lots of development activities. But what do most companies do? They either want to start a lean initiative, they want to sustain a lean initiative. With that, they want to strengthen, a lean initiative that they have. And so they will send workers to training or arrange for training to do this. They will train their current workforce. Every now and then, you might be able to hire somebody who brings some of these skills in, right? But you don't really have it readily available. What does FAME do? FAME starts building lean training, lean development into students. I'm going to use the word students before they go to work. And so when they are hired into a company, they bring in a substantial foundation of lean training and development already. And the more you hire of those, the bigger your workforce, or the greater portion of your workforce is lean aware, understands lean practice, and can participate. Let's look at Toyota, for example. We started this with our technician workforce. We call them skilled team members. Depending on where you're at, you may call them crafts, tradespeople, whatever that may be. Our technology, right? Our skilled technicians. And so as we hire them from this program, every time we bring one in, besides bringing their technical skills in and the other development that I'll tell you about, every one of them comes in with a strong base of lean training. We're literally building at Toyota, we're building lean capability, lean awareness. Again, we call it TPS internally, right? Awareness at the ground level, and then it's just going to grow up through the organization. The third thing that we're introducing that we believe is new, I don't see this really talked about in this way at all, but it introduces the concept of competitive talent development as an intentional business tool, right? Business in a free market by its nature is competitive. Competitiveness, competition is a really good thing. Competition builds better products, better operations, better ways of doing things. As we strive to push ahead in a competitive marketplace, we do better. Our competitors do better. When they do better, they make us do better. I think everybody's familiar with that dynamic, right? On that. So we have a lot of ways that we think about competition. We do competition. How do we do it, by the way, in a lean or TPS system? One of our fundamental thoughts there is, how can I make better quality, more efficiently, at a lower cost, right? And if you do that, your customers will like your products more, right? But you hear those TPS or lean drums beating with that thought process, right? It's competitive. And so in this concept, what are we doing? In the FAME career pathway, our goal is to produce global best entry-level talent. Global best. We're not saying that as like a rah-rah statement or some lofty kind of target. We mean global best. In the case of technicians, we have done the research to understand what others are doing, including the gold standards in the world, in Europe and elsewhere. And in addition to trying to, developing and trying to make this program totally relevant to what we need in every aspect, we're also doing it to make the graduates a little bit more work ready. Best programs in the world, because that gives us, and any company with us, that gives us a talent competitive advantage, an intentional tool of competition. Let's develop our people to be better than the people of our competitors. Not better people internally, of course. We're not talking about, the good hearts of people and things like that, but our capability to do work, right? Our capability to perform. And that'll be a competitive advantage for us as long as that person works for us, right? With that. So 3 new things. So what's not new? So Toyota, the originator of lean thinking and methodology through our practice of TPS, is still, let's think about this. We're not just sitting over here trying to continue to do TPS and just do a good job of it. This program is a demonstration that we're still breaking new ground in the world of lean and TPS. We're finding new ways, not just better ways of what we're already doing, but we're finding new ways to push the practice of TPS and lean forward. And we're creating new models that have not yet been explored in the world of TPS, lean, and work. So Toyota is, out in the world, what do you see, right? You see a lot of lean practitioners, a lot of lean consultants out there. You see a lot of publications these lean people are doing. You see a few people who came from Toyota who are writing books or consulting after they've left the company. But what's Toyota doing in its own world? Well, guess what? We're not sitting on our hands. We're still finding not just better ways to do TPS, we're still finding new ways to do TPS. So that part's not new at all. We're working just as hard as we always have to push this model, this TPS model forward. So Dr. M had already mentioned FAME, had already noted what it stands for, Federation for Advanced Manufacturing Education, right? That is a collaborative, a group of employers that work together with each other and with colleges and universities to develop global best talent. Now, it's not unusual, of course, for a company to work with a college or a university. One of the things that is more unusual about FAME is that the employers first come together among ourselves and establish this intent and this activity. And then we work together and strike these partnerships with colleges and universities to create this education program. So very important thing, concept here, employers at the local, in a local area working together. Now, in a local area, we call it a chapter. This is what a FAME chapter looks like. So notice in the circle, this shows multiple employers. We actually work as like a quasi-organization, right? We've got a set of bylaws, we'll elect officers and so forth with this. It's all about helping to educate the emerging, the emerging workforce. And so that's the FAME chapter. We will then choose a college partner. We call it a FAME college partner. In the US, this is almost always a community college, a special 2-year institution that issues associate degrees and certificates, with that. But here's something else that's new. We just don't go out and go to the college that is the one that has always done this, right? Frankly speaking, education can be slow to change. Education can be very slow to want to change. To a degree that can be resistant to change. Now, we love our colleges, we love our education partners. They are not prone to jumping to new practices very quickly, but in the business world, we feel like that's needed, right? And so one of the things that we do is we actually choose which college will offer this program. This program was visioned, developed, and is led by employers. It does not originate at a college or university. That's another thing unique about it. And so because we're going to choose it, it basically places our community colleges in, frankly, a competitive position, right? We don't have to necessarily use you. We've got these others. Who is most ready to make the changes that are needed to come to this new, better level of performance? Having chosen that college partner, we then set up a continuous flow pathway. Ding, ding. There's another concept for you. Through in the USA, our youth education, it's called different things around the world, but what we call primary, middle school, and high school, think ages 4 years old, 18 years old, right? To do that, we set up a continuous flow pathway to bring talent through into employment with the FAME program. 2010, one employer, was Toyota, right? One college, that was Bluegrass Community and Technical College in Kentucky in the USA. In one state, and I just said that was in Kentucky, right? What does it look like today? Over 400 employers, 34 different locations, 36 colleges and universities in 13 states in the USA.
Wow.
Toyota is a part of only 9 of those locations. The other 25 don't have a Toyota presence. And this number is growing rapidly. So it shows you how extensively this program has spread beyond the Toyota realm. So what is the pathway? So if the previous slide shows how the chapter operates, we set up a career pathway, right? This is what it looks like. So notice the box that is in red. This is the FAME AMT, Advanced Manufacturing Technician Program, right? With that, and it's a 2-year program, college-based. I will tell you that we completely reinvented in this program how a community college does technical education. We didn't just try to improve what they were already doing. We kind of erased the board, completely clean, started at ground zero, and built the 2-year experience completely up, right? So it's a big change for the college. That's why I was talking about change earlier. That's the hub. Notice it's in the middle. So what do we do? Let's go down a level, down here at pre-K to 12, and we have a different focus at different ages and different levels. You know, in the early years, we don't talk about manufacturing. We don't talk about Toyota. We don't talk about companies. 5-year-olds aren't thinking about that. But what we do is we try to get them really excited and really engaged in age-appropriate ways, what we call STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, right? We make it fun. We don't try, we do. We make it fun. We make it engaging. And our belief is that as young kids are exposed to that, they will later begin choosing education and occupational directions in STEM, bringing more workers in, right? Also brings more to healthcare and aviation and other areas too. It's good. Later in the pathway, we introduce, occupational awareness. At some points, we begin talking what an incredible career manufacturing is, how we love it, with that. And then finally, we recruit directly at this point right here in the USA, what we call 12th grade, 18 years old, into this program, right? But then notice it doesn't end right here. We have currently 4 defined pathways. With the one on the left is technician. That's the meat and potatoes. That is the primary occupational sector that we're impacting right now. I can tell you very soon, we're getting ready to expand to some other occupational sectors that are very important to manufacturing, right? So the significant majority of our graduates will follow this technician pathway. But what we have done is we have built some additional continuations because many people, especially many young people, they're passionate about learning. They like to learn. They like to learn things that are relevant to them, and now they're working in manufacturing, right? So we have a continuation from this program in business. We call it advanced manufacturing business, right? Engineer, advanced manufacturing engineer. And everyone in the audience should love this, lean, right? We have a bachelor's program that is a direct continuation from this in lean manufacturing. Now, these are also designed to be completed while the technician is working full-time. These are rigorous, very good programs. Every one of them has been shaped to be even more impactful for manufacturing than just an off-the-shelf program. If you just go out and get a program at one of the universities, right? To do that. But beyond that, they have been set up and structured so that someone doesn't have to either delay working full-time or stop working full-time to go. They are completely integrated into the daily cycle of the working technician. So I graduate, I go to work as a technician, I start making some great money, building my career, and while I do it, based on my passion and how far I want to go, we have these additional continuations. Good for the student. Good
I have
for
a
us.
question here,
Yes, sir.
Dennis. Do they have to take it that after they become a technician, they're working, do they have to really follow the business first, the AMB first, and then the AME, and then the lean? Is that a step way, or they can choose any?
That is a great question. I love that question. Let's take that to a lean principle, right? The less flexible that I am, the less lean that I am, because I can't respond to needs and situations, right? With that. So to answer your question, the technician can take any of those first. And after they take one, they can go take another if they want to, right? You know, with that. And so it is the choice of the technician, which, so first, if the technician wants to, they don't have to take any of them. They're already trained at a global best level to be a technician, right? They can work their career in that technician role, make great money, have great benefits, and have a great life, right? However, if they do decide to go further in their education, they can do that immediately, shortly after they go to work, or they can wait a few years. They can work 3 years, wait 3 years or 5 years or longer, and then start. So timing is even flexible. But what we have done is each one of these universities that offers these programs, we've worked with them so that all the credits, or I should say 60 credits, 2 years worth of these credits, 2-year program, right, will seamlessly transfer to these programs. They don't lose any ground. They don't lose any progress. So they get seamless credit transfer. They can take any one of these programs and they can start them when they want to. Does that help, Dr. M?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
there is a curiosity here, is that that is the individual's perspective, Dennis, that he opts for it. But since the employers are involved and they would like more engineers or more business guys or more lean guys, so they can motivate these guys to take up that path because the employers want it?
Yes, exactly. So as an employer, I need really good engineers, right? And so if one of my AMT students who has already gotten superior results, because if you're in the AMT program, you're not a regular average technician student, right? If they decide to go to engineer, they're going to be a better engineer. If they decide to go to business, they're going to have this incredible understanding of both the technology of the manufacturing plant and the operation to now bring into their business education. It makes them much more powerful as someone who holds a bachelor's degree in business, right? And of course, if you're someone who practices lean or TPS, right, to do that, everybody who is thinking lean needs lean, right? And just to give you, since you asked this question, it's a great question. Let me tell you a little bit of what's going on. If you're in this AMT program, you get 5 full courses in lean manufacturing. You know, most employees don't have 5. Most employees don't have any. And when you send people for training, they may get 1 or 2. On the very first day of hire, these people walk in the door with 5 courses. Safety culture, but lean safety culture through lean principles, visual workplace organization, or 5S. We call that 5S, right? Lean principles and practices, TPS. This is the TPS course, but this one is actually developed for the technology world, not for the production world. All the principles are the same. The principles don't change, but what does the practice of TPS look like in your technology world so you can do better work, greater quality, more efficiently in the world of technology, right? Problem solving, 8-step problem solving. And then finally, machine reliability, a very hands-on course that in effect increases Hygienka. in the way that we define that in the technical world, right? So it's a course that focuses in on a couple of other things too, but really is a strengthener of the practice of Hajunka in the technical world. So they've got all 5 of those with credit under their belt. They've done at least 2 hands-on practices in them before they become first-day worker for you, full-time worker. They've been working part-time for a couple of years.
The last
that
course,
help?
the last course includes TPM, is it?
Say that again, please.
Would the last course include TPM?
It is not TPM. We actually, interestingly enough, we started TPM and taught that as the 5th semester course to our first 3 classes. But then, and by the way, TPM is really good. It's not that we didn't like it, we did, but then we thought we were getting a little bit more impactful thing with that last course. The name is machine reliability, but what it focuses on is RCM, reliability centered maintenance. It's an approach to maintenance that's very TPS friendly. And we take it even a step further for those people who might recognize this. If you recognize RCM, and in that particular class, we give a focus on what's known as FMEA, failure modes effects analysis. It's right in the heart of problem solving with that.
So I'm going to take one more episode with you where you distinguish TPM and RCM. RCM is what you said, right?
Yeah, RCM. Yeah, so TPM is a both a principle or a concept of practice, as well as some methodology, right? With that, RCM is not counter to TPM. Probably the simple, short way to understand it, RCM is an approach and a method that you could use within a TPM effort to further strengthen a TPM practice.
Sorry, I broke your flow.
No, it's good. It's good. This is. I'm an educator, right?
Yeah.
We like questions.
And I'm a learner. So there you are.
And we're all learners.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good?
Very good.
Okay, so forging forward, let me show you. Here is a different depiction of the FAME career pathway, right? So showing you what the FAME career pathway looks like. So we talked about that AMT program with the red block. Remember that being in the middle? So here is that red block. This is the AMT, Advanced Manufacturing Technician program, right? This actually breaks out. So all we had was one block that had pre-K to 12. This is showing the way we break it out in the USA, right? This is primary, 5 years to 10 years old. This is middle school, 10 to 14. And then this is high school, 14 to 18 years old. This shows some of the practices, what we're doing in here. I'm going to assume on your website, your audience could download these later. I'm going to make them available to you.
Sure.
You know, and then here is that 2-year program. At this point now, employers have already selected these students and they're working cooperatively, learn with school. And then we move into full-time work with the company in these blocks here. What's the big concept? Everything is closely connected. We move from youth education to college to companies. It's all coordinated. It's seamless. We build it without gaps and without duplications, right? It gives us the platform to do strong encouragement until we come to the point of recruitment, do strong recruitment until we come to the point of learning, right, and mastery, and then taking a smooth flow into employment for the company. A continuous flow talent pipeline. So now I'm going to shift a little bit. That gives you a base understanding of how FAME basically works. I'm going to shift a little bit, and we're going to talk about the lean aspects of this program, right? And how did these lean or these TPS aspects play a role in getting where we're at? Well, everyone, if you're on this vodcast, right, is likely familiar with the terms and concept of continuous improvement and problem solving, right? So this whole thing started with problem solving in 1988. Then it was improved, and then we problem solved, and we improved, and we problem solved, and we're just keeping on doing that, right? Classic TPS dynamic or lean dynamic, right? With that. So what did that look like? So let's first take a look at what continuous improvement in this program looked like. It started based on some problems that we were considering at the time. We were hiring for our first large plant build. Excuse me. We were hiring for our first talk myself out, large plant build, and we could not find, I would say a sufficient number. I'll say the real answer was almost nobody who was multi-skilled, right? And our people, they weren't passing our selection system. So that's just what got started. So what we did in 1988, I'll leave people to read the details in the slides. Excuse me. Something called the pre-hire program. So we ran that for 2 years. And then after 2 years, we said, okay, this is what's working really well. This can be improved, right? And so we did that. We made those changes. We kept what was good. We brought in improvements for what could be improved. And that brought us to something called the Skilled Trades Development Program. Now notice there was never a break, right? We're still in a continuous program. We ran the Skilled Trades Development Program for close to probably 14 or 15 years. And there was some overlap in the next one. But, you know, at that time, we saw what was working really well, had a lot of experience. We'd been doing it. What wasn't working so well, and we did it again, right? Let's take this stuff that doesn't work so well and move it out. Let's take these improved practices in. And we named that the Maintenance Co-op Program. Again, however, nothing has been broken. We still have a continuous program, right? Something happened, however, in the Maintenance Co-op Program, and that was the Great Recession that started back in 2008, which affected the entire world, you know, and that was such a profound effect on business, was an even worse effect on the automotive industry. It caused us to really slow down right during that period because for a while we were not hiring anyone, right? So we put a few students through the program. We got some experience with that program. That was critical, right? But what it also did was, since we had the experience, it gave us a season of additional thinking, additional innovation, additional problem solving. And then as we began to come out of the recession, we arrived at what we called FAME in the AMT program, the fourth phase, right? So we count the start of FAME as being 2010. However, the fuller answer to that is it was not a brand new program. It was the latest continuous improvement phase of what we've been doing since 1988. And then what we call phase 5 is when we partnered with FAME USA to take leadership of this program from Toyota to this national organization that could take it across the U.S. And so you can see how we have classic continuous improvement. We have classic problem solving. We have initiation of work from a problem in this whole set, and not one bit of it is operational floor. It's being applied to how we're developing people development, how we're developing education, continuous improvement, right? So now let's take a look at the problem solving aspect of it. So on a higher level, what is the workforce problem? So we're always thinking of problems, right? I think everybody's familiar. Taiichi Ohno, the man generated many quotes that we use today in the practice of lean, right? But one of them was, I may not get this exactly right, but one of them is he who has no problems has the most problems, right?
That's right.
Because they're not recognizing the problems out there. Problems are normal, right? Problems are not bad. Problems are normal. Problems are part of the environment. We need to recognize what they are, prioritize, and solve, countermeasure the most impactful ones, right? So what was the problem that particularly brought us to what we call FAME and AMT? Where was our thinking at in those few years prior to 2010 when we said, here's the next phase, right? Again, I'll let you read through the details when you download the slides, but big picture, not enough skilled technicians. The systems of education that exist that produce new technicians, entry-level technicians, they do not make enough to fill all the jobs that we have in manufacturing. And besides, beyond manufacturing, we have others sectors that need them as badly as we do. Aviation, pharmaceuticals, food processing, utilities, right? And then beyond that, we have even a growing gap in other jobs besides technicians. Now, Toyota thought our worst problem, the one that needed most solved, was our technician gap, but we have plenty more lined up right behind that, right? The second problem, and by the way, so we call that a numbers problem. There's not enough to fill the jobs we have, right? The second problem is what we call a quality problem. If I look under my own roof, if I look at the operation that's under my feet and in front of my eyes right now, by and large, when employers get together and we talk about this among ourselves, we do not feel like new technicians that are graduating from U.S. programs are work ready. Now, we don't mean they don't know our equipment systems. Of course, you can't know that if you've not worked at our place before. That comes after you go to work, right? But they're not work ready at the door. They're not work ready coming in. They've got too many gaps, too many things that affect their work, the quality of their work, the reliability of their work before they walk in the first place, right? So we as employers need a better prepared technician to be able to do the work that is in front of us right here that we can see today. One way to think of that is we need a better entry-level new technician to help us achieve our KPIs, our business KPIs in front of us, right? But we have a second problem. Now, this may be unique to the USA from perspective standpoint, but Toyota, as an example, we're a global company. We operate across a global marketplace. We can build anything anywhere. We can sell it anywhere. So that means companies that are based in other nations, in Europe, other companies in Asia, for example, other companies in the USA, right? That means they compete with us. And here's the problem. Their nations, their regions are turning out, are graduating more prepared, or better, I should say, better prepared, better work ready new technicians than the US is. It's giving us let's go back to that concept we talked about. It's giving us a talent competitive disadvantage. The competition is getting new workers who are more and better prepared than ours. Does that make sense that way?
Yep, true.
And so, we don't want to be behind that competition race. So both of those are quality problems, and we just roll them up into that overall quality thing. And then the last one is this. You've probably heard me say this before. I make the joke. It's kind of if you're hearing it for the first time, you might get a little chuckle, but if not, you're going, oh my gosh, Dennis is telling that joke again, right? But aging technical workforce, and I know you can't see me here, but you saw me during the introduction. And what I say is our technical workforce, us, any company that has them. And it turns out this is a worldwide problem. I didn't realize until several years ago now that this was extended much beyond the US. They look like me, look kind of old, look kind of gray, right? What does that mean in practical terms? It means two things in practical terms. One thing that it means is this is the work group that likely are our most capable workers. They've got more experience, they've got more know-how, they understand the equipment, they know the nuances better, they have the knacks that you build in from daily work that you learn, they know the company's cultures, they know the company's processes. They're the ones that get it done. They're the ones that make it happen. They're the ones that return business investment for us, right? And the other characteristic is they're walking out that door really soon because they're ready to retire. And so we have a highly disproportionate number of technical workers on the latter end of the age scale. I believe the average age in the US now is well into the 50s. And I can tell you, among some famed companies that we have, some of our employers are now starting to say that their average age in their technical workforce is the average age is starting to move into the 60s. What do we do when they walk out that door? Because it takes 1 second to walk through a door when you retire. And in that 1 second, you lose 25, 30, 35 years of experience, know-how, and capability, right? These are the problems that drive what became Fame AMT. So I'm going to take a look at this. I'm not going to read every one of these. I'm bringing the same illustration back to you to show some visual continuity as you do this, right? But let's take a look at the lean design of this program now also. So notice in black, every process adds value. We have a purpose, an intent, and an expected outcome in each one of these blocks. And we then look at built-in quality at the process, right? And so we have a strategy and a process that should occur at each one of these blocks to give us that outcome that we need. And then if we tie these together into a continuous flow pathway, we can start making this talent pipeline work. There's really nothing out there that is connected this intentionally in this thought process or in this way. Notice and this was on the other drawing, I'm going to address it now. So if this is largely driven on the education side through these first floor blocks, right? Everybody in these first 4 blocks, they're students at some school. In this fourth one, they also become part-time workers, right? But what does it look like from the employer engagement side? Down here, we need to be actively encouraging. Most employers are not involved at all down in these earlier grades and things with that. In Fame, we're saying you have to be involved, and there's different ways to do it. It doesn't mean your people have to be at the schools per se, but we have to be actively involved, right? And then as they come up and they complete the youth education part of it, we focus on the last 4 years, right? Then we become recruiters. And then when they get to the AMT program, the 2-year college, we become co-educators. The school is not educating them for us. We and the school together are educating them to a new standard. And then in the first year of working full-time, we confirm their skill and capability, and we hire them. Now, some companies hire them after the year. Some companies hire them and do this process as part of their first year. But what we have is when they go to work full-time, we have a confirmation and hiring phase in here. And later, when you download this slide, you can look and see what's our strategy, how are we doing this at each level? How does the pull system work? The continuous flow pull system. So first, keep in mind, I don't have it drawn here, right? But keep in mind, when I showed you earlier, this whole system locally is driven by a group of employers working together, right? So keep that in mind. So if this is our continuous flow system, the source of the pull is at the employer level and specifically at the team member level. What is my gap? How many skilled team members do I have? And what's my gap of what I don't have? That creates the pull. The point of pull is between the high school and the community college. They finish youth education. And then we have, what does regular education do? They just try to let anybody who's interested wants to come be educated, right? Nothing wrong with that principle, right? It's a good principle. The problem is, in the kind of jobs we need, not enough decide to come. Numbers problem, right? You know, and then a lot of those who come don't graduate, or they take a long time to graduate. So at this point right here, based on the numbers here, we have a very specific target that we want to bring forward. We're not just hoping and praying that some people decide to do it. We're down here working the system, working the school, working with the students and the educators, administrators, and parents to create enough interest to pull forward into the program enough to close the gap.
I have a question for you. There are at certain stages, there are the double arrows. What does it mean? It goes forward and backward?
Yeah, meaning that they are connected in a link. It means that the primary school, what we call kindergarten to 5, pre-kindergarten to 5, means they are working with, talking to, and coordinating with the middle school, who is working with, talking to, coordinating all the way up the chain.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean that they go back. It means that they're coordinating, right?
That's right. Yeah, those are the connecting. Very good question. Those are the connecting links, meaning those two phases are not just kind of separated. They're actually linked into a working system in this model. Okay, good. Okay, going forward, let's take a little bit deeper look at the pull system. So this is a 2-year program. Once the student enters, right, this is a 2-year program. Here are the employers working together in essence. Now, this varies a little bit from chapter to chapter. Some employers are a little bit better than doing this than others, but we help each other to learn more, right? Here's what happens is the employers are meeting together at least once every month. At least once a month, employers come together to manage this program, right? At one of those meetings, they will do this. They have projected ahead 3 years. This is the size of my skill force now. This is the gap that I have now. This is who I expect to retire. This is what my attrition rate is, right? Maybe we know we're going to expand. We're going to need some additional workers. There's a lot of factors to take into account, right? Not so complex, just it comes together and you can actually form, a good enough projection to say, you know what, in 3 years, I think I'm going to need this many new hire technicians. Maybe employer A needs 2, and the next employer needs 1, and the next employer needs 2, and the next employer doesn't need any at all. And the next employer, maybe they're a bigger employer, they need 5. You got the idea, right?
Yep.
Everybody brings their individual need. We add that all together. I'm just going to use a typical number, 30. We're going to need 30. 3 years from now, we need 30 graduating, right? Well, guess what? Because we projected 3 years ahead, it's a 2-year program. We now have a year to recruit those 30 students. And you know how it is in manufacturing? The way we are as manufacturers in our heads, give us a target, give us a timeline, and tell us what's needed, and we're ready to get to work, right? That's our world. That's what we do. And so now we have a year to recruit those 30 students. Are we ahead of the track? Are we behind? If we're behind, what's the gap? What do we need to do? And so we can manage that recruitment process so that ideally, at the end of that year, we have our 30 students. They're a better selection of 30 students. So the kind that we've selected, not the ones who've just decided I'll go in and try this. And now they will enter the 2-year program, AMT program, complete it 3 years after the projection. See how that works?
Yep.
And then all we do is we just repeat that every year, So here's the new class coming in. Let's now add a year and project 3 years ahead again. This is the way pull works in the FAME AMT program. So let's define ideal condition. Now that we have the student, what are we trying to do with them? We got 2 years. What do we want to do with them? So you can't get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. I can give you, Dr. M, I can give you a great car. It'd be a Toyota, right? On that, I can give you a great car. I can give you gasoline, petrol, whatever the English term you use in India, right? You know, with that, and you might love your car. Where are you going to go with it? If you don't have a destination, you're just going to drive around and use up resources and money, right? So we have to know where we're going. We have to know what we expect at the point of graduation. So we have defined that, and we defined it in quite a bit of detail. And we defined it, excuse me, in ways that employers would think, as opposed to the way that educators would think. Because if we define it in the way that employers think, the educators and their co-educators, the employers, can do a much more effective job of getting there, right? So the audience can read these ready, but notice we're looking at areas like they can read the details, right? Personally ready, competitively ready, totally multi-skilled. We don't use single-skilled people here. Too inefficient, too unproductive, too high cost. So we don't have electricians, we don't have welders, we don't have mechanics. We train these students to be able to do everything. The full multi-skilled scope is electricity, fluid power, mechanics, and fabrication, machining, welding, metalworking, right? This all includes PLCs, automation, and robotics, right?
Wow.
And so when a graduate comes out, they have been trained in all of that. Strong math capability, strong reading capability, fast technical learner, uses and learns effectively with digital media, strong problem solver, effective verbal and written communicator, effective interpersonal skills, a natural team worker, and qualified for the next level of education that we've set in front of them, right? The career pathway. We saw that earlier. So AMT program, one thing that we do, so on the one hand, I'm going to tell you how it's structured. On the other hand, think, eliminate, muda, right? Part of that lean design. So it is 5 straight semesters in the US. I know in Europe, I'm not sure, for example, in India or the extended, Asian world, but the typical college structure is you have 2 semesters a year. You go in the fall, August to December. You go in what we call spring. It's more like winter to start with, right? But what we call spring, January to May, right? And then you get the summer off. Well, the way we see that as employers is I'm taking adults who I am educating for an adult occupation, but I'm giving them an education schedule that's like middle school or high school. They get the summers off. Talk to any of your employers. Look at yourself. Do you get the summer off? Do you get to kick back for the whole summer and just relax and go out and do what you want to? No way, right? It is unrealistic, right? It's unrealistic. And so we continue learning through the summer. Not only is it unrealistic to prepare for the working world, we also lose a whole semester of learning that we need. Notice I also said 8 hours per day. It's typical in the college level, right? You don't necessarily go to class 8 hours a day or involved 8 hours a day. You might not even go to class till 9 or 10 o'clock. If your last class is over at 1:30 or 2 p.m., you're out of there, right? Again, lots of lost learning, lots of inefficiency. So in this program, every day is at least 8 hours, planned hours, contact hours of learning. 2 of those days are at the school. 3 of those days are at your employer sponsor working. So you alternate work, school, work, school, work. The school days are Tuesday and Thursday. For a different cohort, it might be Monday and Wednesday. Everybody works on Friday, right? And so what have we done? we've now got the learning opportunity completely filled up. 5 semesters straight through. You still graduate on time with traditional students. They were just off not learning during the summer and not developing good work habits, right? With that, and we have at least 8-hour days, so we're getting our maximum learning and experience time built into the program. Here is a biggie. So most programs, I'm going to go beyond technical, they only have a focus, a single focus, even non-technical programs. You go to college, you got to major, right? I'm majoring in this, I'm majoring in that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a whole lot of courses in that, take a few general education courses like language and math and, stuff like that, history and so forth, and I get a degree. Well, here's the big point. I go to a lot of colleges, I go to a lot of universities, right? They love to show me their technical programs. They walk around the classes, they show me their classrooms, they show me their great equipment. It is great, right? They tell about their instructors they have and all the industry background they have. That's good. I'm not knocking any of that. It's really good, right? And they do an effective job of teaching technology. And that's the problem. Not that they're teaching technology, the fact that they're only teaching technology. If I go to an employer and I say, tell me about your best worker, well, they're going to tell me they're a best technical worker, right? They're going to tell me they're a great technician. They got great technical skills. But you know what else they're going to tell me? He or she, they come to work every single day. I do not have to worry about them missing work on that. And when they're at work, they have great initiative. I'm not having to tell them to go do this or go do that. They're up and doing it because they know it needs to get done. And they're doing a good job of it with that. And you know what? They get along with people. I'm not having to go out when I need to be managing the work to be better for our business product. I'm not having to go out and help resolve interpersonal conflicts and little spats between employees. They really get, so you see what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
An employer naturally recognizes the full set of capabilities that makes a great worker, and they include a lot of non-technical aspects, right? But what do we do in our education systems? We just teach technology. We do not prepare people for work. We just teach technology. We do a pretty good job of teaching technology, but that's it. In this program, we still have the technology there. We actually have even more of it. We have 5 semesters worth instead of 4, right? But now we've added 2 major pieces. We've added lean manufacturing. I've already referred to that before and called that out. 5 courses, you can see them. But then we have this. We also have a very comprehensive soft skill development aspect with this. And I will not say that we do soft skills more comprehensively, more deeply, better than any other program out there. I will say this, I have not yet seen another program that does it as comprehensively as we do, right? It starts with the fact that we have 20 soft skills that we address either directly or indirectly. We divide those up into 6 professional behaviors, 7 essential behaviors, and 5 professional practices. And all of them have definition, outcome, process, and demonstration, with that. And they are woven into the daily fabric of the program across those 5 semesters. And then here's the last piece I'll notice about this. This is not a technical program with 2 really good side dishes, right? All 3 of these aspects are considered to be equal. The professional behaviors are just as important as the lean manufacturing, which is just as important as the technical core, which is just as important as the professional behaviors, right?
So all of them
are all equally important.
So all of them are the real me. They're no side dishes, right?
Yeah, they're all main dishes.
Yeah.
With this one, you get 3 main dishes, no side dishes. I like that analogy.
Love that.
I may start using that, right? With that. And so here's what we're doing. And now this gives you, and the audience gives you a clue into the name of the program. Most of these programs are named something technology, right? Here's electrical technology degree you can get. Here's a machining technology certificate you can get. Here's an advanced manufacturing technology associate degree you can get, right? But what's technology about? It's about machines. It's about equipment, right? This is the advanced manufacturing technician program. What's a technician? That's a person, right? We are developing the whole person, the complete worker in this program, and not just teaching technology. This is a radical change and shift from other programs. And you can see down here in the details and notes.
Can I just add? I mean, what's the image that comes to me is that you're not creating a robot, right?
Oh, absolutely not. We're creating thinkers. We're creating continuous learners. We're creating thinkers. We're creating people who can problem solve problems that don't have an immediate answer, right? With that, we're creating people who can work effectively with others and raise the whole organization with this. We're not creating robots at all. We're actually creating highly capable problem solving thinkers who can work together.
So nice, very nice.
It's part of addressing that quality problem. Remember the three problems: numbers, quality, and age, right? To do that, this is part of addressing the quality problem. Okay. Yep. Again, the audience can read the details, but here's just a quick look at the professional behaviors, right? So remember, we divide them into 3 areas: 6 professional, 7 essential, 5 professional practices. What do those look like? You can see the categories. So what are we looking at? If we're developing soft skills, what are they? Attendance, initiative, diligence, interpersonal relationships, teamwork, communication, attitude and respect, discipline, self-discipline, right, and character, responsibility, organization, time management, productivity, social media ethics. This is not a program rooted back in 1970, right? We're right up here with it. 5 professional practices, right? Professional dress, professional posture. Let me go back. Professional dress, but professional dress at the working level, not office professional dress, right? Professional dress, professional posture, professional greeting, professional presentation, and AMT practices like arriving sufficiently ahead of work and some others that we have. So all of these get developed in this program. Go and ask your employers and say, tell me which ones of these aren't really important to your work, don't really add anything to what you do. And I think you're just going to get a lot of silence, right? When you think about what this does, everything on here in some way adds to capability, right? Capability and effectiveness at work. And some of them, in addition to that, add to attitude and self-concept, self-value to grow that stronger to be better at the rest. Okay. Here are the lean manufacturing courses. So we call them MCE, Manufacturing Core Exercises. Each one of them is a semester long. Each one of them has a 4-stage sequence to complete, but we have to train them in what it is in the first stage. Now that they're trained, we have them apply it hands-on at the school. What are the changes the school has to make? I didn't say this before, but we're trying to get this program out of classrooms. Classrooms are not realistic. They don't add to preparation for the work, the work you have. You can do some learning, but in a lot of ways they're anti-preparation because they teach you dynamics that are not good at work. Each school that does this has to agree to establish a large open emulation that's like an operation. Think of it as a manufacturing emulation. It's not making things, but it's large. It has multiple activities going in it. There might be some students in a class here. Somebody's working on a project, robot project there. Somebody's working on a 5S project here. You got the idea, right? With that. And so they will do, so it creates a space where they can do these activities just like they would at work. And so the second stage after they've been trained is they will do a hands-on project in the school environment. They're all together. They can all learn together. They can all get common coaching from the instructor, right? Now that they've got hands-on experience, they do a project at work where it really counts, where it really applies, right? And then at the end, they do a major presentation that employers and college administration attends in addition to their instructors, right? With that, to go over what they've done that semester and show what has happened and to get feedback. So all 5 of these have that same 4-step sequence. Basically, we say, learn it, do it, apply it, and tell it, right? So what is a safety culture? Value for safety and respect for people. Visual workplace organization, 5S. Daily business impact, right? If you're doing that effectively, you're making some kind of difference every single day. Lean manufacturing principles and practices, or TPS, right? Strengthen your business processes. Problem solving, drive continuous improvement and achieve quality, right? And machine reliability, improve productivity and achieve a higher level of hygiene. These are examples of the pocket cards that are part of these activities. Every activity has a set of pocket cards, and there's a whole activity built around those pocket cards as part of the learning process. We have line of sight. So this is a strategic level. If you look at this, notice, do you recognize again this target for each graduate of the course right here? This development target. So what's the operational target? To basically make your whole workforce be someone who's been developed to this level, right? Well, that carries on. I'll let you read the details in the slide. That carries on to a strategic target. And the strategic target ultimately brings us closer to an ultimate goal. Right here is the line of sight all the way from the individual student learning to how we achieve the ultimate goal and how they all connect together. This is a problem-solving example. So in this problem-solving example, I'm just showing you an image. When the people get the PowerPoint, here's what I would say. Keep in mind that, one, this was an impromptu activity. This student did not know they were going to be asked about their problem-solving activity, and they were about halfway through it that semester, right? And so this student's also 19 years old. You can click this link, and you can get the video as she talks through this. And what I would tell people to pay attention to, a 19-year, now is this a perfect problem solving thing? It's not. This is a 19-year-old doing it for the first time. She's still better than 90% of your employees out there, right? To do that, but also think of how she presents herself, how she communicates, her problem solving thinking, how she connects it together, how she has a grasp on the basics of 8-step problem solving, right? So I'm showing this just as an encouragement to go click this link and watch her actually talk through this. And she had probably about 30 to 40 seconds of preparation, and that was used up in pulling her board around so everybody could see it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the career pathway, and I want to show you some additional lean aspects built into it. I'll just kind of go with what we have here. We already talked about the pull system, right? And we explained the pull system. So right here is that point of pull between what I need to come in to, actually, I put this in the wrong place. I'm so sorry. I just realized I did that. The point of pull is right down here. So I'll send you a corrected slide, and you guys who are listening right now, sorry, but when you download this, it'll have the correct one. We have the point of pull right here in the pull system, right? We have elimination of MUDA because there is a seamless transition. There's a full 60 credit transfer if you move from the associate degree of the AMT program to any of these bachelor degree levels. And you don't see it here. We also have 5 master's degrees already built into this, all targeted to business impact. One of them, two of them already focused on industry 4 that we have with this. So you don't see it in the slide, but we're really thinking out what we do and how we continue to develop these people forward, right? Here's another place of elimination of MUDA, whether it's in the AMT program or whether it is in one of these programs. Every course adds value. Students don't sit in a single course that somehow does not have describable value-added impact on what they do at work with that. We have gate checks, a whole lot more than you see here. These are a couple of examples. We have gate checks built in here. Students who come from the 12th grade and enter the AMT program, they must be what we call in the US college ready. That means no remedial courses. They have to take no remediation in order to be ready for college level studies. In the US, that's about 1/4 of high school graduates. So basically what this program does is it skims off maybe 1/4 to 1/3 on that. I think 25–30% is the number. This skims off the top third of our high school graduates. Most technical programs are operating in about the 20th to 60th percentile, in the middle of the pack, a little below average, right? On that, you have to be college ready just to get in the door in the first place. Here's another one, gate check. All continuing pathways start with AMT graduates. This is a hard, intensive program that is more rigorous, quite a bit more rigorous than a regular 2-year technical program. If you graduate this program, every student walking in the door up here, just like every student here is college ready, every student into these programs up here were successful in the AMT program. So shows you some of the lean thinking that we put into how we design this, in addition to what you've already been shown, right? Standardization of this program from one college to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, as we spread it, right? So standardization allows other standardized programs to be added to the base program. An example is the AMB pathway, also that AME and lean, right? Easier and effective metrics for management to understand because it's the same everywhere. It's easy to duplicate this at multiple locations because of its standardization and then all the training we have to help you implement it, right? It's easier training to support all programs. And when we come up with an improvement, we can apply the improvement to every Yokotan, right? To every one of the programs we have. So this is an easier way to sustain improvements. All classic aspects of standardization, but for the first time now, we're starting to apply it, not just to the education world in one location, but we're now able to duplicate this program across locations. Diversity, we have a really strong diversity push. We have a program we call Make the Future that further encourages. Now, we don't have enough of anybody. We need more of everybody. Numbers problem, right? But because we have so few participants from females and from people of color on that, this Make the Future program basically is a strong encouragement, and it's multifaceted. We have different tools in this program. I would encourage the audience, as just one example video, we have several. Go down here and click this little link. It says watch the video, right? Click this link. It's about 1.5 minutes. It gives you a taste for what Make the Future is and how we're approaching it. The ideal pathway in the real world. So we are showing you a real FAME career pathway from 4 years old to somebody who is in a master's program. Or most of them now was. So in 2018, we think we actually put the entire pathway together in one place. There was a school district that had 4, 5, 6 schools in it, I think, with that. And we were able to implement all of the STEM activities in every school in every grade. And so this is a 4-year-old who is participating in these STEM activities appropriate to her age, right? All the way up to pre-K, K, 1, 2, 3. So this is a 5th grader. So this group right here, the striped shirt to the 4-year-old, that's what we call primary or elementary, right? These next 3 are middle school. These next 4 are high school. 18 years old with the gentleman in the tie. These next two students, first year AMT student, second year AMT student. This next one is a company employee, a graduate of the AMT program, who at the time was getting her bachelor's in the AMB pathway. She now has that bachelor's, by the way. And this was the first student to finish the bachelor's degree and move on to the master's that we had. There's a bonus in here. This is an instructor back here for the primary level, instructor for the middle school level, instructor for the high school level, right? This is an employer. This is an instructor at the college for the AMT program. She is a graduate of the AMT program. So now the program is starting to feed itself, whereas some of the graduates who have a real passion for education can actually turn back and become part of the education pathway. But here it is with real people in the real world. This got quite a national announcement in the US back in 2018 because it essentially had never been done before. What are results? Let's take a quick look at results. So over half of traditional graduates in the USA graduate with quite a bit of college debt that they have to pay back to pay for their college, right? So in this FAME AMT program, almost all AMT students graduate with no college debt. They don't have any burden, any financial burden when they graduate on that. They're debt-free. They can only look forward, right? So graduation rate, U.S. community college average, full-time, on time. If I'm starting a program, I intend to go full-time, it's a 2-year program, right? Only about 5 to 20% actually graduate on time. And further, American community colleges count on time as completing a 2-year program in 3 years, right? Well, what's the graduation rate in this program? Full-time, on time, 85%. And further, we count on time the way a business would count. A 2-year program should be done in 2 years, right? So our 2-year on-time graduation rate's 85%, even though this program is much more rigorous, much more intense than those traditional programs that can only achieve a 5 to 20% graduation rate. Okay, what about the hiring rate? It is typical, the average across all programs in the US, when you graduate, the average is 3 to 6 months to get your first full-time job. Now, I will say if you're in technology, those students do better than that, right? But what do we do in this program right here? The immediate hire rate. And the way I describe that is, let's say that you graduate on Friday. Monday, you are working full-time. Graduate on Tuesday, Wednesday, you are working full-time. The immediate hire rate by the original sponsoring employer, the numbers are coincidental, is also 85%. Guess what? It's good for the student, but it's good for the employer too. The return on investment for all that time you've put in investment, you've put in that student, 85% of them are going to work with you and filling one of your jobs. The program has won so far 12 awards and recognition, and they cover a wide spectrum. This is the latest map of where the program is in the U.S. Remember, when we first started Toyota, we just had a target at 8 places to put it into, right? This is where it's at today. Overall summary, global best, entry-level technicians, engineers, and business graduates, comprehensive soft skill development, highly proactive diversity program, builds lean development into fundamental learning, tool to build a lean workforce, strengthens lean culture development. It turns out it's an accidental leadership program. We didn't intend this to be a leadership program. Graduates of this, just after the 2-year education on this, are being promoted faster than any group that we have ever had. And they're being promoted much sooner. One company, one Toyota location has said 20% of their graduates, and realize most graduates graduate at 20 years old, right? 20% have already been promoted at least one time. We already have several at the manager level that we have. And the program only started in 2010. Pull system to provide a workforce with the needed skills on time, introduces the concept of intentionally managed competitive talent. Fame goes national. Manufacturing Institute and Toyota entered a partnership. I talked about that up front. MI will scale the program to the nation. The national announcement of the partnership was in 2019. So what's the difference? What will MI be able to do? They'll be able to give stronger support. For many of these years, I was the only person who was directly devoted to this program, all the way from having to develop it, to help start it up, to provide training, you know, with that. And so it's stretched thin, right? You know, with that, MI has a whole support staff for this. They have a lot more resources, and it gives them better long-term sustainability because they can continue to replace or add people as they need to. I just keep getting older. And that only lasts so long, right? To do that, I would encourage the audience to watch this short video. I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes that highlighted the actual partnership ceremony where we did this. We had White House involvement, basically presidential representative level involvement for this. So it got great national, you know, attention to do that. This is the one video I'm going to play. It's about a 6-minute video. This will bring us to our conclusion. I want to tell you ahead of time what to watch in this video. First, it's not a Toyota location. There's the gentleman right up front that we're showing a quote from who is Toyota, but then that's it. Everything you see, the chapter, all the employers, Toyota does not have a presence here. So it shows you what this looks like beyond Toyota, right? All of the key players have a voice in this video. You're going to hear from employers and what they think of the program. You're going to hear from AMT students in the program. You're going to hear from the college partner. You're going to hear from economic and workforce development and the impact that it has with them. And so that will all be in here too. You're going to see aspects of how fast these students can grow in their development and capability. You're also going to see the pathway. There's going to be a brief clip showing a tour from younger students coming in to see the workplace in a safe way, of course, right? And guess who the tour is led by? Fame AMT students. So that's kind of your preview, what to watch for.
We need people with the right skills to do the jobs of the future.
Good to go.
And quite frankly, we needed them yesterday.
We're investing in employment. We're investing in skills, in workforce development. We're investing in high schoolers. We're asking the local business community to drive that. These are the actions that are going to be the difference, and this is why I'm confident that the vision for us to become the manufacturing hub of excellence in America is not a pipe dream. It will come to fruition, but it's our job to make it happen.
Our ability to generate skilled labor in this community is directly linked to our economic viability.
Kentucky Fame is a great partnership for Kentucky. It brings together manufacturers, the education community, and students to be able to promote manufacturing and the jobs and careers that are there for manufacturing.
What makes Kentucky Fame a little different partnership is it's led by the manufacturers.
The quality and the precision that's required in the automotive space is extremely high. Each month we make 43 million individual pieces in North America, so you can imagine the requirements that we have are quite extreme.
For us, there's really no one on the street that can do what we do. You know, it's not like experienced automation technicians that are walking around looking for jobs, right?
A lot of people think you make an investment, it's in equipment. It's just not equipment, it's people. And if you want to grow, you have to grow your people.
Northern Kentucky's been blessed with, you know, being leaders in lots of industries that are all facing these similar challenges. And so it's aligning the core curriculum and the product that comes out of the community college to the direct needs of those companies.
We chose Kentucky Fame program. It was academic. It was not only technical, but there was the academic piece. And then there was the behavioral piece as well. And they're learning how to problem solve, 5S safety, all those combined, working at the company and going to school. This was a program that we wanted to do.
So one of the things that we've struggled with is how do we marry what they're learning in the classroom directly into what they're being trained on that week? And to build a curriculum for that, an on-the-job training plan, We can't dedicate that kind of resource to that for that one apprentice that we have. But what we can do is have all the trainers from the FAME program come together and look at how do we do that as a group. And then all we have to do is how do we specialize that for Han.
Kentucky Fame's just given me a very broad, high demand skill set that is sought after by a lot of manufacturers today.
As a small business owner, it provides a solution for me to hire cost-efficient employees that are being trained the way I need them to be trained.
I see the smaller companies working together with larger companies and having partnerships. There's some things that will be as big as we are that we do not invest in, so we build partnerships. You start working together with other companies, start learning things, and before you know it, you become a team. Working with Bosch and Han and all these other companies now as a cohort, we work together. We're doing business with each other now. So we became a big family in Northern Kentucky.
The partnership is really about getting a feel for the world that is advanced manufacturing. And our Kentucky Fame students know the world they're going to work in. That in our programs, and you can take a look, around our facilities, you can see the stations that they're working on are the very same technologies they're going to be working on in the workplace. So what they tell me is, I have confidence that what I'm doing here matters. And you don't always hear that in education. There's sometimes a question about, is it relevant? Is it going to make a difference? Why do I have to learn that? You never get that in our advanced manufacturing classes.
You spend these 2 years in the FAME program and it really guides you in what you want to do.
3 days work, 2 days school. And it's set up really nicely because you take what you learn at school in your tech classes and then come to work and do it.
And then right after I learn how to do it, they tell me, okay, the next time if this ever breaks down, you're the one fixing it.
9 months ago, I graduated from high school and I've already traveled for work. I've already gone to Mexico to train other maintenance teams how to MIG weld. I'm already thought of as an important player in our company. It's amazing.
To be able to come out of college with 22 months debt-free and have at least a year of work experience that adds value to the company immediately. It's tremendous.
I think some of the uniqueness of the Northern Kentucky Fame in our evolution is we've done a number of things that I think have been leading edge.
The mentoring's big. We do big on mentoring. We do big on recruitment.
It's never too young to get students interested in manufacturing. Today we'll be doing a tour of first, second, and third graders to show them what our robots can do and to get them interested in the sciences and the math.
We go through high schools and we're trying to get everybody to think differently. If you go to NASCAR, we sponsored a NASCAR. What's our biggest neighbor in Northern Kentucky? Kentucky Speedway.
Hey, my name is Garrett Smithley, and I'm driving in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I've worked with multiple winning teams early in my career. Currently, I have the honor to be working with a very special team, KY Fame at Kentucky Speedway. I've learned a lot about KY Fame, and it has a similar skill set that we have in racing.
So I want the Kentucky Fame program to be considered world-class. We have a structure that teaches people the right hard skills that they need, but an environment that is applied, more project-based learning, and the soft skills that they need to be able to communicate and work together. And if we have a robust program that is viewed as highly effective, and we're building this pipeline that is establishing this highly qualified workforce, that's going to make it more attractive for other people to come in. And all that means is we need to keep going, because there's never a point where we're going to be done.
Kentucky Fame has been a real gem for us. We've been lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm super excited for advanced manufacturing in Northern Kentucky. More jobs are opening up, and there's lots of opportunities.
I think what Kentucky Fame does for Northern Kentucky is it connects us to the world.
Future looks extremely bright. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see where this program takes me.
Well, that's lovely.
If you're a Kentucky homeowner, 2022 is your last chance to go solar.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Let me get back into the... Okay, there we go. Okay, and so that should give can you see the slide now again?
No, I can't. You have to share the slide.
Okay, hang on. I learned my lesson this time. There we go. And okay. So for the audience, hopefully that was a good, quick look at what this program looks like in actual practice. And again, it has all the key players in it, right? So it gives you a good feel, for what it was. That brings us to the end of highlighting this. I hope you've learned a good bit about FAME, how FAME works, how it impacts employers, how it can be a feeder. Remember, every single one of those students that graduate and is hired at a company brings in 5 lean courses with hands-on practice and application in workplace environments, but also how the structure of the program to a lean principle has brought it to a top performance level. There's really no program like it. There's no program that applies at its level. What does that mean? Global best, entry-level talent. You're getting what you do with them after they come to your company is up to your company, but FAME will bring you the most work-ready, best prepared students. Here is the link to fameusa.com. You can go through their website. It's very informative. There's a page in their website that has all of the current leaders of FAME. Tony Davis is the FAME USA National Director. He has a staff there with that, and you can make a direct connection with them. And that brings me to the end of what we think is something new under the sun. Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Really something new under the sun, because this is the first time that, at least on my podcast, I'm getting what I always wanted of how the lean can be applied in the educational world. And that says it all, because there is the pull, there is employers involved, there's a pull from the employers. The kids are growing up the way they want to, in a focused manner, problem solving, standardization. You said it all, and it's all there. And thank you very much, Dennis. And then all my guests can interact with you. All those people who have asked me for the PPT, I will send it to them, and they will be interacting with you on your direct messaging on your LinkedIn. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, everyone is welcome to join me on LinkedIn. I'm going to actually send you 2 PowerPoints. Okay. I'm going to send you the one that I just used because it shows the lean aspects. But I'm going to also send the Manufacturing Institute's PowerPoint on it too. And so that'll be even a more powerful connection.
So you're going to send it to me? Or those who ask for you on the LinkedIn?
I'll do it either, whatever works best for you most effectively. I was thinking most of your audience is tuned in to you, and if you had a place you could put it on your site, they could download it.
I would do that.
I'm happy to provide it from my LinkedIn also.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.